Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everybody and welcome to GT3. My name is Sir Murray Walker, aka Evil Dragon XX, back again in the commentary box. This time, we're at a beautiful circuit. We'll get to that in a little bit. Joining me today, as per usual, it's my one, it's my only, it is Miss Jess.
Good evening everybody, welcome to Côte d'Azur, which some of you may formerly know is Monaco, which is in Monte Carlo of course. It's had a lot of change of layouts for its time, and it came from the idea of Anthony Knothead's the Monix Motor Club. No, I can't even say that word, but anyway, it was held in 1929, the first race, and it was won in a Bugatti, so something different to the GT3s, but as you can tell, there's not just F1 cars around here, there's lots of other cars as well, but due to this narrow track, it's going to be very interesting tonight, Eva. Probably one of the most difficult tracks on this calendar.
Indeed, the Monegasque drivers back in the day, of course.
Monegasque, there we go.
Established the idea of racing around here, like you said. Anthony Node's last corner, of course, named after Anthony Node. Well, take you around the circuit later on, but Jess, lots of interesting things come around this circuit. Of course, it's most famous for Formula 1, and indeed it should be. It is one of the only places the F1 cars come to on this circuit. Only other cars I think ever raced around here. I know the M1 Pro cars raced around here back in the 1980s. And of course, the feeder series, the likes of the Formula, the Porsche Super Cups come around here sometimes as well. But Jess, we've got a nice hot lap to go on board with, haven't we?
Yes, and once again, just like last week, we have got a hot lap from VSR Rotary, also known as Ethan Graham, so I hope you enjoy.
Hello, my name is VSR Rotary and I'm going to give you a lap guide of the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. So we're at Monaco for round number 7 of the AOR season in the GT3 cars. This is a real challenge this, so braking for Zandvoort, turn number 1. We gotta be careful we don't brake too late and turn in late, otherwise we're going straight into the barrier at turn number 1. Now uphill through Beau Rivage, this quick sequence of left, right into Massenet, trying to open up the corner as much as possible. Don't leave it too late because there's no room for error here. It's all about precision at Monaco, precision and speed and commitment. So after coming through Casino, we're going downhill towards Mirabeau. Don't leave it too late on the brakes, as you see, we'll go straight into the barrier. Still going downhill towards the Grand Hotel, probably the tightest, if not the tightest corner on the circuit this. Downhill still through Porsche, the first part of it, bring it over to the left to open up the second part. As you can see now, we're coming into the tunnel section. This is where it's all about speed. The M6 can now stretch its legs and get some power underneath it. So through the tunnel, flat right there, bring it over to the left as close to that concrete barrier, downhill towards the Nouvelle Chicane. This is a tricky braking spot. This car is dancing around all over the place, hopping over the curves, bring it over to the left as much as possible, straighten the car out on the power. Now into tobacco, quick flick to the left, don't leave it hanging though because you'll be straight into the barriers on the right. Now through Virage Lucheron, also known as the swimming pool section, that's the first part of it done, completely flat out. Now into the second part, don't clout that orange barrier on the right hand side, skipping over the curves, now into Rascasse. This is where Charles Leclerc butchers his Monaco Grand Prix last year. Not doing that here. Into the final part, quick flick to the right and then onto the left. And that is a lap of the Monaco Grand Prix circuit.
And well, that is the beautiful hot lap by VSR Ethan. Now we're back to live action, by the way, because qualifying is underway. Bit of a missed time on our behalf there. Apologies, we'll go through the drivers and constructor standings as we go on throughout this event, because, well, we're going to have a lot of time on our hands, I reckon, because of a circuit like this, racing is going to be difficult. However, qualification is all that matters around this circuit. And the likes of these guys who are all going to get clean air is going to be crucial. Right now we've got Jasko and that's Papano very close together. Now, just qualifying around here is difficult in a Formula 1 car. In a GT car, I did some practice earlier on, and they've had to turn mechanical failures off due to severe amount of engine explosions.
Yeah, I can see why, because, you know, there's only one place you could go right, really. It's either you are on the circuit or you're in the wall. And if you're on the wall, then that could really affect your car and basically put you out of the race. So that is not good. But we're only on board with Papano right now. Papano has showed some consistent form last week. Obviously, we had the two sprint race. Well, we had the sprint race and the feature race. He did an absolutely fantastic job last week and scored some decent points and got consecutive podiums as well.
He very much did. He's been a man on a mission, especially last week in the Nürburgring. Double podium for him for all the issues he had. Doing good. Only missing one drive to that of Archil, who has pulled out again. So that is another did not finish. That's the 5th time now, technically, in his 4 races he started. Because remember, last week was 2 of them. So that's why it gets confusing there. So I'm not sure what happened, of course. He pulled out with just over an hour to go. That's a real shame for him. We've got Cam so far on pole position, the 132.0. We expect some drivers to be able to get down into the 129.8. That was what they were doing last night, of course, in the little practice race. The question is, though, do they get clean air? And who's going to be the first to see a driver in the World Vetro? He's been doing a relatively good job last couple of races. He's expecting a lot of struggles around the circuit. He's on the pad as well, so don't expect to see him blistering times right now. That's just out like 155.0. So let's go and find a nice on board with someone. That's just fine. So I'm not part from Ethan. We've seen Ethan. He did that very close to the wall, might I add, for good measure. Let's go and find Mr. Jasmine, who's currently coming through the chicane. So we've got a right on board of him then. So coming down here right now, we're coming into the back corner as Jasmine's actually going a nice cool lap. So nice slow onboard lap around the circuit. They're coming through to back out into the swimming pool chicane. There's the left right into the second part of the swimming pool chicane. Compared to real life, this is the older variant. There's a Audi in the wall. Now I'm wondering if that be Scold or Esser he's going around. It's Scold. So that's why coming down into the Rascas and then down into Amphinode's last corner. On the right hand of the screen, unlike the Formula 1 games, they have Vanto statue there. So that's a nice little detail. Project Cars can do better than the F1 games. So there you go. Up through the gears, then down into the first corner, into Sand of Rock. Tricky braking zone. Careful, you don't want to go skating off into the barrier like that. Now up the winding hill, then up the little S section, I like to call it, before we come into it's the corner I always forget. It's the only corner on this circuit I can forget. It's the Massenate, that's the one. Down into the beautiful area down the hill, down into Mirabeau. Late braking, of course, 120 kilometers now, down to about 60. Then down into the old station hairpin, as it used to be called, now known as the hairpin. Or I like to still call it Lowe's hairpin. Quickly through there, down into the Portier. Double right hand, of course, what's at the barrel on the outside there as you come through to the exit, the Portier corners. And then straight into the tunnel. Built in 1973, this tunnel was the hotel above it as well. Next to the tunnel, blasting the speed down. This is the quickest part of the circuit. Laying on the brakes, careful. The rear one to step out down into the chicane. Gets it all done through the Naval chicane. Then down into to back again. That tricky corner in a Formula 1 car. Very tricky in a GT car. The rear end very susceptible to come around. Watch out for the left wall there as it sticks. As they then come through the right down to the exit of the swimming pool section. A little bit too on the wall, and that's what you can do. Straight into the wall for Jazzman and straight back to the pit lane.
Yeah, not a good lap for him, but obviously a 134.6. I know he could do a lot better than that, as well as Etta as well, down in 10th place at the moment. But the guy on pole was the second race winner from last week, Mr. Jasko. He's been getting a lot of poles recently, which is good to see. One of them he didn't convert to a win. The second one he did. Obviously, he started pole in the second race, because obviously he finished 8th in the first one. But it's all about where you start, it's about where you finish, and Jasko did another incredible job. Leonardo did good as well. And we're seeing drivers, in the last race especially, where we see drivers that were higher up the field weren't doing very well, and there were some that weren't doing as good, were doing very well actually. But we've got the likes of Essa, Fogarty. They need to get their heads together, I think. But for most of these drivers, I've got to say, I think their main goal is just to finish this race, because it's really hard to survive at Monaco, I must say, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely difficult circuit. Tap barrier around here, and there's been unfortunately some glitched barriers reported as Tinner's slightly tapped, so well, they will get away with that one. So watch out for drivers clipping the wall, the likes of down into this corner here, down into Mirabah. The outside barrier will murder you. There's a glitched barrier there, and also a glitched barrier reported down here towards the exit of the Portier corners. You'll see it on the right of your picture, that bit where the orange is. You touch that barrier and your rear suspension will come off into oblivion. There's also one report at the exit of the Nouvelle chicane as well, with the other orange barrier. So basically anything with orange, just stay away from it, is what I'm figuring out today. So let's see if anyone hits it today, of course. Let's hope for their sake they do not. And of course, Jess, you got to watch out. And with the likes of Macau, it's also can get some real prevalence. It's a tight street circuit, just like this is. If someone goes off around here, there is going to be a crash. Give or take, isn't it there?
Yeah, as I was speaking about earlier, and this track, it's not a track that stays around forever, because obviously when this circuit is not in use, obviously people can walk on it, and they could go onto the street and use it as a town pretty much. So, you know, if there's damage in real life, it takes a long time to fix it, just like any street circuit. So hopefully there won't be any repair bills for the teams tonight as Tinnis comes across the line. And I do believe he's starting his flyer as well. Defino's, as he clips the wall there. Hopefully he was on his in lap. He might have been, I'm not entirely sure. But he's got less fuel, so I assume he was. But Boyrax on pole. I didn't see that coming. 130.9. 23 thousandths quicker than Matt Jordan, of course. That's pretty good going. I mean, I think we'll see the 129 surely as the track starts to evolve towards the end of the session. We've got 5 minutes left, and with a circuit like Monaco, it could really happen. Start to get faster, the less the time ticks, basically.
Yeah, indeed, it very much will, of course. We're expecting that 129. Scott so far down there in 14th position. He's just behind his teammate Essa. His teammate Low Essa has got himself a one-place grid penalty there for good measure as well, so he's been a little bit naughty. Now, 130 kilometres this race will be. It's 39 racing laps, as long as my maths is correct. The drivers will be going 130 kilometres. If it's more than 39 laps, I'm going to look very sad. Though the circuit is about 2 and a bit kilometres long, so should be too hard to add that. So about 130 to 135 kilometres these drivers should be doing, give or take. Scott very loose on the rear end, the exit of the steering pull, clips the inside curbs, they're bounced over the right, and they're down to the Raskas corner, the scene of many an accident in the past. A certain Michael Schumacher parked it up there in 2006, and a certain Raikkonen and Massa decided accidentally to do it in 07 and 08 respectively. So there's a very beautiful image you can find there of all the Ferraris there from the top-down picture, just parked down there. It's beautiful. Scold though, he doesn't want to join that list. No Ferraris here today, might I add. So far the slowest on the grid, Leonardo. He's been struggling with connection. He's been struggling with pace throughout this race, of course. He does not seem comfortable in his Lamborghini whatsoever today. 1 minute 14. There's Papali coming through in the background. We've got 1 or 2 cars just up the road of him as well. I'm not too sure who that is from the cameras. But for the drivers down here, Leonardo, he's still got an opportunity in this race. If he manages to pit early, because the undercut around here is going to be substantial. Because remember, everyone else, dirty air is a big thing in the CE cars. About 2 seconds as Leonardo struggles to get around through Raskas. 2 seconds, I've been told, the window is between dirty air and not dirty air. So you're really just got to find the precise time, Jazz. And if you want to come in early, you've got to do it quick.
Yeah, it is one mandatory pit stop, of course, and I think there'll be a lot of more strategic things, as you said, as I think quite a few people may want to get their stops done as early as they possibly can, but some of them they might want to leave as late as they possibly can. It's up to them, of course, as long as they pit at the end of the penultimate lap. It does obviously count towards their mandatory pit stop, so, you know, we could see a few traffic issues as well, because obviously in an F1 car it's hard to overtake, in a GT3 car it's hard to overtake as well, so it's one of those tracks where qualifying is key, of course, which Boyrax has done. He's currently leading the championship still, obviously after his consistent form. He didn't win last week, he got 2 podiums though, he got a third of course, but still, that is pretty impressive. Jasko is coming across the line now, I believe.
Yeah, and he is Just crossed the line. I think this could be a pole position lap, Jess.
This could be it. He comes across the line.
Top second up, so should go quickest. No, does not then. So loses 2 tenths, but puts himself under a tenth. So top 4 separated by 1/10 of a second. Top 5 separated by 2 tenths of a second. Incredibly close so far. What can Gaza do then as he comes through the last couple of corners? Wow, my goodness, then. We're in for a surprise result today. What can the Gaz do? Crosses the line, the Mercedes then across the line. Can he improve? So far, 9 seconds down. That was his out that we believe there, then, as he clouts the wall for good measure at turn number 1. That's going to be a bad exit through turn the hill. All about Papani. Can he improve? He crosses the line. Does he find any time? Now he's also on an outlap. We've got Rotary, who we believe is on a outlap potentially. Well, he's going to be...
No, he's not now.
He's not now, and you know I said Marcus Schumacher going off there. Oh, he's gone and done it there. So Ethan going off, though, not deliberately, might I add, of course, and these GT cars are a lot more difficult to slow down in the more streamlined and silk Formula 1 cars of the time. These things about twice the weight and twice the size of them, especially when you're looking as a Scold loses the rear end there. And Scold's been struggling recently. He said he's got no rear end, and you can see it here, and I suppose we go back to Ethan, of course. He's in that BMW, and BMW have got a pedigree around here, of course. The M1 Pro car, it's I put a lovely picture up as my tweet, by the way, of this race coming up. So if you do look at that, it's a beautiful image of all the M1 Pro cars going around this circuit, and it's often beautiful to see different cars around here, but it's really built for one purpose, Jess. It's built for a Formula 1 car, and even that really does not suit the bill. This circuit really just kind of an elder statesman who's long lived his purpose around what really is gonna be a proof of why GT cars most likely shouldn't come here.
It's kind of like, it's Matt Jordan's hit the wall. He doesn't like he's gonna set a faster lap time. But yeah, I agree. It also kind of reminds me of another track where it's not designed for GT racing, and that was another French track, Rouen-les-Assas, if you remember, in round 2. So, you know, yeah, those 2 tracks are not the best, but, you know, these circuits are designed to challenge these drivers. They can't have it that easy, but watch out for season 16. I'm looking forward to that already. So that's going to be exciting now. As qualifying is just finished, and we've got Matt Jordan can't improve, Ethan can't improve, Big Kid Daddy can't improve. I don't think Jazzman can improve either. Vetro's in the pits, and so is Essa, but we've got Tinnis. He's coming through the last couple of corners. Now we've got another car behind. I need to figure out who that is, though. That might be... I don't know, but I think that might be one of the Audis anyway. So Tinnis comes across the line. And is he going to improve? Boy, Raxa sets a new fastest lap. Can Tinnis improve? Doesn't look like it, no.
No, so by Raxa looks like he's on par. Unless Jasko can improve, he does not. What about the likes of Papano? Papano's coming through the middle sector. Gaza down by just under a tenth of a second, so he needs to claw it all back. Though he is 2 tenths down, so let's see anything can happen through the last couple of corners into the double right-hander of the Raskas. Then into Anthony Nodes, of course. He'll be beaming in sunshine up in the sky as he almost touches the wall on the exit for good measure. What can Gaza do? Can he get himself on the front row of the grid? Can he even improve? The answer to that is no, he cannot. So, what about Papano? He comes across the line. Can he improve? He's a tenth and a half down. Can he get himself up any higher? The answer to that looks to be no as well. So, with an eventful qualifying by Raxa on pole position then by 37 thousandths of a second ahead of Cam. Tinnis in third position, 55 thousandths down, and Jasko fourth, 75 thousandths down. The top 4 drivers separated by... drivers. The partner did improve, but not by enough. He only puts himself in 5th, 79 thousandths down. The top 5 drivers separated by under 1/10 of a second. Gaza in 6th, further 2 tenths down, ahead of Rotary in 7th. Good qualifying for the BMW. Belts better than the Z4, might I say, as well. Dafino in 8th. Jazzman in 9th position, ahead of Big Kid Daddy in 10th. Scold there in 11th from the Vatican. Behind them, we have got Fogarty, Vector, Leonardo, and Essa down the back. And just an incredible qualification as now we get ready for what could be 1 or 2 possibilities down to turn 1 at this race.
This could be a championship crucial, I think, for some of these drivers in terms of positions. I mean, this could cause huge upsets. I can tell you now, that's going to be my prediction in this race. Is someone that you may not expect to be on the podium could be on the podium, but Borax has done the right thing. He's made the right decision to challenge for pole today, and he got it. And the most crucial thing is going to get a good run into turn 1. Once he gets a good run into turn 1, then all you've got to do is hold up the guys behind, and he should be absolutely fine. But there may be people going for a little bit of a risky move towards the Millvale chicane. I can call that now for certain. And lots of other corners as well. But we'll wait and see as the session goes on. But I wouldn't want to be driving in these GT3 cars around Monaco. That's why I'm glad I'm in the commentary box instead of racing. But there we go. So I'm just trying to get up the standings whilst we do that, because that is a good opportunity for us to go through the standings whilst we go on the formation lap. So we got Boyraxa and Gaza fill out the top 2 spots, and we've got Tinus in 3rd, Jasco 4th, then we have Papano in 5th place after last week, Big Kid Daddy in 6th place, Stefano 7th, Leonardo 8th, Jazzman 9th, who did not finish in the last race, and we got Matt in 10th after his good results last week. He got 2 5th places, Foggy 11th, Scold 12th, Vetro 13th, Essa 14th, Archer 15th, who's not, I don't think he's racing the league anymore, and we've got Ethan in last. So yeah, those are your standings, and I'm just looking at the gaps between 1st and 2nd. It is quite a massive gap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big gap. There's a potential, I think, that they can wrap the championship up. Not this round, I don't believe, but definitely the next round, potentially. Though I believe the last round might be double points, if I'm not too mistaken. So I can't confirm that just yet, but the championship definitely coming very close. Because Boraxa, who, if I'm not too mistaken, has dominated this season, give or take. The Mercedes again, strongest of the bunch. And again, looks like another season where that car, or at least its team colour car, will win the championship for the 4th run season in a row.
Yeah, I mean, they've got good drivers, and they wouldn't want to change their lineup, and that's definitely helped them in a way, because you don't want to just rely on your teammate a lot to get points. You also got to do your bit as well. It's not just about the drivers; it's about the constructors as well. And I know in the leagues I'm in, I'm not going to say here which ones, but I take the constructors very, very seriously. If I'm in last place, I'm like, what do I have to do about it? What can I do to do better in the championship to help my teammate? And we could see a bit of teamwork involved, maybe team orders perhaps, maybe to try and get up the field. Some people might be holding up, I don't know, but it's one of those circuits where strategy is important, of course, but as we were talking about earlier. But with Boraxa in 1st, Gaza in 6th place, that could work out very well, and obviously Jazzman and obviously Tinnis are further behind, so they can't really work as a teammate as much. And yeah, we got a mixture of cars, so maybe we should start to see some good play towards the middle of this race. But 39 laps, Evil, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen, of course. Remember, single file formation as well, so we won't be seeing double file around this circuit today due to the potential of disasters down into the first corner. They've decided it might be good to go single file around this circuit, so no double file, no bunching up, but watch out for the drivers down the back, because remember, it's a very tight, from the last corner to the start line, all these drivers in the back lot will not get away until these guys are gone. So these top guys might be going around about now then. The rest of the guys, they're still coming through the last corner. And it is a go then, I believe. And it is finally go, and they're all underway then. So the top group of cars lighted away. So Boyrax leads from Cam, leads from Tinnis as they come up the hill for the first time. Then crucially behind though, is everyone got it through cleanly down into Sandoval. It looks like they will have like 1 or 2 cars trying to make moves up down the back, but looks like everyone's clean through then. So they come through Massino then for the first time. Boyrax leads them from Cam. Then comes Tinus, then comes Jasper, but Parner and Gaz was out. No one making any mistakes down the back. As now we come down into Mirror with the first time, but crucially low. Boyrax leads, we come down into the hairpin then on the full flying racing colours then. And a beautiful shot then, so they all come through down to the hairpin then. Everyone keeping it everywhere and no one making anything stupid, no mistakes down the back at all. Everyone gets away A-okay there, so it looks to me, Jess, that they've all got away cleanly at the start.
I think these are the guys, they want to take it as cautious as they can, because they know if they risk it in lap 1, turn 1 potentially, or in lap 1 pretty much, then it's going to be a lot of issues. So they just want to make sure they put their foot down, probably later on when they get some clear air, obviously. But for now, they don't want to end their race in that one, surely. And they don't want to go into the pits either. They're going to lose so much time because everyone else is crowded together. So the best thing to do is just wait until there's a central gap, then go for the move. So that's what they've done.
Yep, look, everyone keeping it clean. Defino just slightly tapping the wall there. Tennis with a time penalty up front. So already getting a few drivers time penalties. Jazzman decided he's coming to pit lane. So Jazzman, he's going to be the first one. Now he's going, and I think Leonardo also following him then. So these two are going to go for the undercut strategy. Now that is tactical there. They've pitted the end of the first flying racing lap to go straight into the pit lane. But look at the gap already these top two have pulled straight away then. That's the crucial thing. You get clean air around here, you're out golden. Tinnis then ahead of Jasko still. No opportunity to overtake around this circuit. We'll find if anyone does do so. But let's find out though, Jess. There's a good start though from Bioract. A good start from Cam. These two pulling away. They've got around about 2-3 seconds nearly already on the rest of the field. Further back, we've got a bit of a gap down. So that is Fogarty, Binky Daddy, Vectro, and Skull behind this little gaggle of cars here of Gaza, Ethan, and Defino. So already just starting to see these little gaggle of cars starting to form, and this is what I feel we might be seeing throughout this race.
Yeah, definitely. And coming towards the chicane here is where we'll possibly see people try to do the overtake, because they could go for the most risk there. And obviously towards the start of the Millvale chicane as well is where we'll see the other overtake as well, but probably a bit more riskier than the after the tunnel. So if you go after the tunnel, it'll probably be the best, I think, and possibly after turn 1 maybe, but I think those are only your 3 chances. If we try and go for moves elsewhere, then that's going to be an issue. Papano's in then. I guess, Evil, he's responding to the guys who tried for the undercut.
Yeah, they have to. They're all going to have to. This is the issue. Look, the mechanics, the engineers, they weren't ready for him. They are not ready for him, Jeff. There we go. So they've now decided, okay, we're going to work now. Fogarty also in. Let's see, Jazzman, is he going to come out ahead or behind this group? Because that's going to be the crucial thing. I think he'll come out behind him, because that just shows you the big gap between where they started and where they come in, of course. Apollo now has a real opportunity. Fogarty, though, might I add, is going to come out very close to Jazzman. He's going to come out just behind him there, but he'll come out in between him and Leonardo. So good old stop for Fogarty left. I think he jumped up a position potentially there. So
he did.
Pitting so early might not really be beneficial. They come down into the hairpin yet again. We're looking at Jasko, and that is Tinus just ahead of him. These two now starting to make slight inroads now to the top 2 drivers, but behind them, Defino, he's behind VSR Thomas Ethan, as we're looking at the engineers down there. The big car, might I say, the big boy, BMW, the M6. Always beautiful to see. Ethan, who drove the Z4 last week, said the car felt like a dog, and it was a pile of insert bad word here. Sugar honey iced tea, might I say, is the acronym for what it is. Has decided he goes in his bigger brother, or I suppose younger brother, even though it's bigger than it. It's confusing, but you get the memo. The younger, bigger brother of the car, the big boy. The biggest car on this game, pretty much, in terms of GT cars. Like, apart from that, I still think the Bentley might be giving up a run for the money. Of course, you've got the very beautiful Cadillac, which no one ever drives, because it's well, let's just say it has an interesting engine noise, and it hurts ears, apparently, for the commentators, so people don't drive it for our sakes, but I love the vehicle nonetheless. But Ethan, he's under pressure from Defino. We've got behind them, I think, Vectro and Skull getting closer together. That's the battle between the 2 very close friends, the Flying Dutchman versus the Flying Englishman, and this is a corner where these 2 have come to blows before in a certain fun race, which some might remember if you follow my Twitter. A very laughing Vectro, because he got flung out the map. Hopefully that doesn't happen today, because he doesn't want to fly into the harbour. That would be unfortunate. Only 4 racing drivers have ever died around here, of course, and most famous of them would have been the Ferrari of... It's always the driver I can't pronounce. It's a Ferrari, of course, who fortunately crashed here down on the exit of the chicane and fortunately set ablaze, and that's something no one wants to see, of course. But around a circuit like this, Jess, it's surprising there has not been as many fatalities in real life motorsport.
I'm quite surprised on that too, but it just goes to show that the sporting governing organisations are doing their absolute best to help with the safety around this track, because they wouldn't be racing if it's not safe, and it's been massively improved over the years. And obviously this one you're seeing right now is a 2015 variant. As Vetro and Skull making a mistake there, I think that's not going to help their cases either, but yeah, you can see it's why it's different between 2015 and now. Obviously it's been gone through quite a few more changes since then, but yeah, it changes every year to make sure it's still a fun place to drive. Basically, it's kind of like the Triple Crown, really. You want to win Monaco, you want to win Le Mans, and you want to win the Indy 500. Monaco preferably F1, but if you win something in other categories around Monaco, that still counts as well. So yeah, I'm surprised there hasn't been that much incidents at the moment. I'm guessing these drivers are putting a lot of practice, and it's showing.
Yeah, only small mistake there from Skull. Lock the tyres up, and as you mentioned, Jess, they're the Principality Motorsport. It is if you win the Formula 1 title, or the Monaco Grand Prix, by the way. So that is... Nah, it's if you win the WEC title, it's if you win the IndyCar title or the Indy 500. That is what the Triple Crown is. Now, people already said they should extend that, of course, to more of a prestigious thing. The likes of more 5, maybe 6 races that every driver has to win to get the Pure Trophy. The likes of the Daytona 500, as well as other races. But let's find out, of course, Defino. He's down there in 7th position. He's ahead of Big Kid Daddy in 8th. Vetro in 9th. Now, we don't know if he's got damage potentially, that little nerf up the rear from Scold. Scold, often the very passive driver, doesn't often make mistakes, but now today, making a few mistakes, ran into the back there of Vetro. And let's see, doesn't want to do it twice, of course. He's very twitchy on the rear end, and I think he wants to get through. Now, the best thing for him here is... I think someone comes in the pit lane. That's Big Kid Daddy I'm seeing. That Big Kid Daddy in the pit lane. I think the best thing for Scold right now is to box, try and do an undercut on Vetro, and then come out ahead of him. That's really the only thing he can do. But he's trying to keep with him. Now, this will slow his pace down and make him less susceptible to crash. But Vetro, who in all circumstances seems to be a bit slower this season. He's really not coping very well in the Lamborghini. I spoke to him recently. He said he always gets very nervous in AOR compared to other leagues, and of course he feels the eyes of the world are watching him. Well, I suppose it's true, because right now we are currently watching him.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, AOR is one of the biggest leagues on Project Cars 2s out there, so of course you will be having a lot of pressure compared to other leagues around the Project Cars 2 scene, so you want to be doing your best, and if you don't do your best, then you're probably going to let yourself down. But usually, starting in a lower tier may help you a little bit. Some of these guys have come from lower tiers before and are used to the pressure, but some of them are just not used to it as much. As obviously we had Defino and Papano. They've came from a lower tier before as well, so, you know, they've been doing well, but sometimes the pressure just gets to you at times. It gets to me when I'm at the front, but sometimes if I'm at the front of the field, I pretend I'm at the back of the field, so I can still battle and stuff. But what do you think? I was about to ask you what you would do in that situation, but we've still got a battle with Scold and Vetro still waiting to happen at the moment, as Scold is catching up to Vetro.
Yeah, I don't see there's any way to come through. And in these terms of battles, of course, I often like to be the attacking one. Scold's gone too deep. Oh, yeah, should have bailed out of that, Scold.
He has to pit. He's hit the wall.
Yeah, he should have bailed out of that there. He should have realised that earlier and around this circuit, you can get away with it here. If you make a mistake, you can get away with it. You can go down the escape road. Vetro's also hit the wall. Vetro's hit the wall big time there, and he's also got trouble then. So, Scold and Vetro, they just seem to be connected forever, and Scold's getting a little bit clumsy right now. He's hitting every barrier you can, of course. He's got damage potential suspension as well, and this is going to cause trouble because you've got Papano now catching like a rapid dog behind him. He's pitted, by the way, and this is the issue what these drivers are going to say. They don't want to get caught up and then get caught behind a car who's got damage. And Papano right now, who's going to be wanting to come through. And if I was Scold right now, I'd just get out of the way, really. He can't really do a lot about it. He's got damage. He should flash his lights, let him through. Because if you go off and end up taking a car, that's going to be a big issue. Papano is going to be wanting to come through. Is Vetro and Scold going to come in, like? Because that's the question. Do you come in now? Well, they've got to, but then do you stay out and then try and do it? A Scold there, he's got to hit the wall, and there goes Papano up the inside, and to Scold, big damage, and I think now there's nothing, he has to come in the pit lane.
Yeah, was Skull trying to let Papano through? Because he was trying to, at least. I mean, I don't know if Papano knew about Skull's and Vectro's damage. I mean, he just wanted to keep going, and he's being held up as well, Skull. So, oh, and he's staying out. Well, that's a bit risky for Skull. I mean, he's going to lose so much time, but I think that is one lap too late, I think, for Skull. I think if he doesn't pit now, there's going to be more damage, and it might mean he'll be out of this race before you can blink, really. So you don't want that, but let's hope he can carry on and continue in this race, because, you know, obviously we want more cars to finish this race, of course, but we'll see anyway. As Papano, he's going to have real trouble getting past Vectro. He's got to get past now.
He's already up the inside, Jess. So you
There
say
he goes.
up the inside down into Mirabeau. Does the move perfectly there, Len. So Papano, the last of the late breakers as per usual this season, does another one up the inside. And, well, I suppose, Jess, reverse commentator cursing it there. He said wants to get past and gets past literally immediately. So, well, there we go.
I think I should do that more. I think I should do that more, help a driver.
Help the driver today instead of curse them. So, reverse psychology works beautifully. Meanwhile, we've got Jasko closing up on the back of Tinnis right now, but that's in the a little bit further back. Real only battle right now is between Stold and Vector, and it really shows you Vector, who's setting a lot slower lap times, and they're getting caught rapidly by those 38 and 39. The cars behind them 33s from Jazzman, so these guys are getting caught rapidly. And that's going to be the issue around this circuit. Cam, we're seeing Matt Jordan, Tinnis, and Jasko. They're getting close together up front. We'll keep an eye on that one as we go on. 132.9, 133.7. So Tinnis starting to come alive in this race, but up front, Byraxar just keeping it nice, calm, collective. He can really afford it now. He's got a 3-second lead. He can afford us to back off a little bit. That's Big Kid Daddy down the back. Scold in the pit lane, meanwhile, for stop. That'll be for damage as well. We expect down the back as well. So he'll be in the pit lane for another 10 odd seconds. And you should get out of the way round about now. There we go. Out the way he goes then. And you'll come out on circuit. Should be ahead of his teammate. Let's keep a little eye on that one between the two Audi Sport drivers. Have come out the pit lane. There goes Scold out the pit lane, just behind his teammates. So actually, didn't work exactly as he wanted. Though he should be able to come and potentially pass his teammate. There should be team orders on that one, I expect. Jasko still catching up to Tinnis, who's still catching up to Matt Jordan up front. The gap between these three drivers sitting round about just over 2.5 seconds, give or take, between these three drivers. Matt Jordan, he's impressed me this season. He's made mistakes, yes, but he's proved the pace is there. And as long as he doesn't throw it in the wall around Monte Carlo, which is easier said than, well, it's easier done than said, I suppose, actually. And that, in this case, around Monaco, as long as he doesn't bin it in a wall, he should be potentially in a good position, because no one's going to get past him as he thumps the wall for good measure on the exit of Sandervot. Won't do him any damage, luckily, around that corner. It's a very shallow impact as well. So as long as he doesn't fly off the wall and into any other barriers, it should be okay. Jasko and Tinnis, there isn't really any way to overtake. You could do it down into Mirabeau, that's okay. We stopped Papano did it, but you have to have about 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds a lap quicker than the cars ahead or behind you to really get past. And in these GT cars, you're not going to get past up the inside of a corner, but let's see what happens. So today, I've only seen one on-track overtake, Jess. And there is Big Kid Daddy, I'm seeing. That's Big Kid Daddy I'm seeing in the tunnels, getting out of the way of Byrax, your race leader. So getting out of the way, A-okay there for him. So sportsmanship around here already. As we come down into the Nouvelle Chicane. Mercedes, Lamborghini up front. Mercedes, there is the other Lamborghini and Big Kid Daddy in between them. The question is, though, Jess, around a circle like this, it's very difficult to get out of the way when you're in these tricky little sections around here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, you must love it when you're trying to defend someone who can't overtake, but on the other hand, it just gets your heart racing. Remember Hamilton and Verstappen last season in F1? That was just almighty good, because Hamilton, with his older tyres, he was able to defend off Verstappen, as I think Matt is lapping someone, I believe.
Yeah, and Big Kid Daddy getting out of the way there. He gets out of the way of all three of them there. So Big Kid Daddy, good applause for him there. Gets himself well out of the way. He's the old horse, of course. Apart from Vogt, who's even older, though he's the old horse. He's the old timer. And let's see what he can do. He's so far in 11th position. He's not doing a bad job, as Jazzman has just passed Vectro, who looks to me like he's lost his rear wing somewhere, Jess. He has. So where's he gone off, I'm wondering then?
I don't know, actually. He might have...
Swimming pool?
Might be the swim pool chicane. I find that corner hard on any game in the best of times, really. So, yeah, we'll see when he comes out. If he's been on the pits for a long time, then that'll probably mean that he's got a lot of damage. But he's losing quite a bit of time already, so I assume it is damage. And it's a bit of a shame, but it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And Vetro, as I was saying earlier, is going to hope that he finishes more than anything, because I think that's his main goal. I think he's not going to focus on position, he just wants to finish this race, I think. And that's what I've seen Vetro do for majority of this season. I believe he's finished every race, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has finished every race. Quick pit stop for the Dutchman as well for good measure. Defino, he's so far still keeping tabs of Ethan. Their lap pace very consistent. Ethan Lope starting to drop back substantially, by the way, from Gaza. It just looks like the BMW does not have the pace, of course. We don't expect to have the pace of the Mercedes, the likes of the Lamborghini as well, but he is keeping Defino behind right now. Behind him, we've got Pardo, who is closing right up on these guys. He has pitted already, by the way, so this shows you how easy it is if in clean air, the clean track in front of you, Jess, these drivers are flying around Monaco. 1:33.0, it is the second quickest time by the top two, of course, which are studying 32s. Actually, the top three, might I say, doing the 32s right now, but it really shows you, Jess, clean air around this circuit is crucial for your race.
Yep, and as I was saying earlier, obviously, you've got to get a good qualifying, and that's what Boy Max has done, and Matt Jordan has done as well, because, yeah, I think all the other tracks, you don't have to get a good qualifying as such, but Monaco is definitely one where you have to. And I think some people are probably disappointed with their qualifying, because it's not been helping them as much in the race. Now, Jazzman is still running with his mobile internet at the moment, so don't expect big things from him, but we see Defino quite close to, I think, is it Ethan? Yeah, it is Ethan. So, yeah, we could see a cheeky move coming up soon. We want to see more overtakes, but it's going to be a lot harder than expected. I think Defino is a little bit less close to go for the move. I mean, if you were that far behind in an F1 car, you can get the move done with, obviously, the slipstream. But GT3 cars are a lot more difficult. You've got to be a lot more closer to get the move.
Yeah, you've got to be alongside him, really. There's no way they're going to come through. Meanwhile, Gaza, he's right now behind Big Kid Daddy, I'm wondering. Has Gaza gone off somewhere? No, that was way further down, wasn't he, then? So,
he was lapping someone. I'm sure he was lapping someone.
That's Big Kid Daddy was lapping. Vetro in the pit lane again, I think. So,
someone else is going to the pits as well. I see, is that his first pit stop?
Yeah, first pit stop then for VSR Thomas Ethan, then on VSR Rotary, as we know him now then. So he's in the pit lane, Vetro also in the pit lane. Should be a relatively short stop there. Matt Jordan off into the wall then here on lap 14 here at Monte Carlo. And he's blocked the circuit. He wants to be careful. Oh, what are you doing there? He pulls out in front of a car. And somehow they do a right contact. That's Big Kid Daddy and Matt Jordan somehow avoided there. But the first issue today, the first spinner in this race, and Matt Jordan's rather thumped the wall. Front and rear gone on that car, almost there on my screen at least. And that looks to be a repair build indeed. So, first mistake of this race. First driver really to struggle, apart from Vetro earlier on, who also hit the wall. So, Carlin is already and luckily over that Big Kid Daddy saw him coming and got well out of the way.
That almost gave me a heart attack, Evil. That was heartbreaking as well for Matt, who has worked so hard. I mean, you know, it just goes to show one small mistake can cost you a race. And I have a feeling that might be what it could be for Matt. But that means he has to do another pit stop. Tinnis is in the pits as well.
I'm wondering, Matt Jordan's going to come in then as well. He will do then, so he's going to pit potentially for damage. We believe he'll have some rear, maybe some front damage as well, because he rather nerfed the car around into the wall there. We believe he must have spun down into Mirabeau then. The rear end stepped out on him, so that is why. Jasko then up to 4th position so far in this race. We believe he has potentially stopped already then, though it's hard to say. We know Papano has stopped. We know that much so far. As he comes out, Cam's going to come up behind Papano. So Papano's worked wonders in this race. That is Defino just ahead of him, so that shows how quick Papano is catching. Ethan, he's come out behind, that's Jazzman, that's Vectra behind him. Fogarty a little bit further down the road so far. So first couple of drivers coming in. We're about halfway through this motor race, of course, give or take. Now remember, we're starting to see the sun starting to come down on these drivers. As it slowly goes on in this race, it's going to get darker and darker and darker indeed until, of course, it does become night time. When it becomes night time around Monte Carlo, it becomes a light show, might I say, around here. A beautiful light show nonetheless. We're right on board then with Jasko. He's so far 133.5. So technically he's got to get the move on. He has just stopped, of course, so the tyres will warm up very quickly again. Remember, they don't have to take tyres on, they just have to take fuel, and the tyres have cooled down ever so slightly now to a point where they're a little bit more in that operating window. So a few drivers getting a penalty there. It's Papano all over the back of Tofino, and I expect he wants to get that move done very, very quickly indeed. So we're right on board then with the man who has often provided some entertaining overtakes throughout this season so far. Some brilliant, some audacious, and sometimes a little bit on the not naughty side of overtaking, might I say. But today, while on Vetro so far, did a good move. Jasko in the pit lane, so he had not pitted then so far. So that is why he's in the pit lane, we know. So that now promotes Jazzman up to what is going to be about 7th position in this race. Papano up the hill then, coming down towards Massenet. You won't see an overtakes up here, my friend, and he has to back off for the time being. Now, the only overtakes you can do, if you get a good exit down into Mirabeau, you can go up the inside. You might go up the inside into Lowe's if you've got very, very big balls. And I don't think Papano is going to risk throwing a car up the inside there, like we've seen, of course, with like a Jack Aiken and Mr. Ragunathan back in the Formula 2 races earlier last year. Doesn't normally work, might I say. So these drivers are going to be a bit more cautious. Down into the Nouvelle Chicane if you're close, but again, Papano, we know he's late on the brakes, but from this far back, he'll end up going straight to the side of Tofino unless Tofino rather brakes very early. And then he can have a little light dive up the inside. We won't do it there. Tofino, a little bit of move there to say, don't try it, my friend. I'm defending this line, whether you like it or not. And I think Papano's rather going, move over. He says, I'm going for 4th. And he wants the 4th. He wants the 3rd, might I say, as well. And well, he's getting stuck behind ever so slightly, almost Mansell Senna-esque right now, though we know for a fact that Tofino will be getting out of the way because he's going to come in the pit lane. But the question is, well, when's he going to come in? Well, it's not now, so I expect he'll probably come in a lot later on. He's going to play a little bit of dividends in this race, and this is all just going to help those drivers who are rather further down the field, who have already pitted earlier on and got some clean air. They'll all cancel these drivers, and there'll be a big trainer vehicle sooner or later. And that's not going to be good. You can see Matt Jordan starting to close up now on Papano, 132.9 compared to the 134. So that really shows you just how much dirty air matters around this circuit.
Yep, indeed. And you can see Matt Jordan in the background as well, really starting to catch up to these two. So the more that these two battle, the more that they can catch up. And I think Matt Jordan will want to get a comeback sooner rather than later. I mean, you can see them in the same camera shot at the moment. Looks like Papano made a bit of a mistake there, but you know, Papano took a lot of risks last week, and there was one overtake in around Nürburgring where it was absolutely fantastic. One of the moves of the season, I think. But you know, he wants to go for it, but knowing Monaco, if he goes for it too much, then he'll probably end up in the wall. So that's why he's not trying just yet. Oh, it looked like he was going to go for a move, but look, Tofino's made a mistake and they made contact. That is not good for Tofino. I think that's hurt Papano. I think Papano's got damage as well, so
yeah,
there was nothing to avoid there, I think, for Papano. So he'll have to go to the pits as well. Has put Matt Jordan back in this, I think, and I think Tofino was going to pit soon, but he has to pit now. I mean, he's got to.
So Papano into Tofino, and then Tofino immediately gave retribution then, coming back around into him there, and Tofino, I'm not sure that would have done too much damage to the pair of them. It was rather a glancing blow than a full-on impact, by the way. Tinnis, we believe, no, Boyrax has already come in the pit lane, I think, actually.
Yes, they have. I think it was at the beginning of the race.
Gaza leads this race, so Boyrax has come in then.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
As well. Yeah, these guys will come in the pit lane, we believe. And yes, they have. So that explains why Gaz is now leading this race, because they had about 16 seconds before they pitted in. So that is explaining the 150s for Boyraxa. He hasn't gone off the road because that's the pit lane time around this circuit, unless he's gone off and got stuck somewhere, which we do not believe he has. Boraxa, second position. Tinnis is in third. He's also pitted then, so that explains why he's further down the field. But Parno now in fourth, still ahead of Matt Jordan in fifth position, who's probably looking like he wants to get a move on now. We don't know how much damage Parno's got. Although we know with Parno around Monte Carlo, it's going to be very hard to overtake nonetheless, even with damage. Without damage, it'll be hard. With damage, I think it'll be even harder because he's going to defend that position like the living daylight. Behind them, meanwhile, we've got Jasko closing up on Jasmine, taking the battles of the Jays. We've got Ethan down in 9th, Fogarty in 10th, Leonardo, Scold, Ensa, Big Kid Daddy, and Vetro down the back so far, struggling away in this race as now 134. Now I'm wondering, is Gaza going to go and get out of the way of Byraxa and let him through? That's the question. We'll presume that's what he'll be doing.
I don't think so, Evil. I don't think so. I think they want to fight for position. I think points is points at the end of the day. I know Byraxa is leading the championship, but Gaza wants to stop other people from getting as much points as they can. And to be honest, Gaza doesn't want to hold up. If obviously Gaza lets Byraxa pass, he might be at disadvantage that he might have to hold on to Tinnis, but we'll see.
Yeah, he was splashing the lights for a second there, so maybe you will let him through. We'll find out, of course, because we know these two are on different pit strategies. Yes, we know that for a fact, because Byrax has already come in the pit lane. But keeping ahead for the time being, he'll come in sooner or later. He wants to be careful to back him into Tina's mind, though. He was only 8 seconds further back. But let's find out, of course, between these two long-standing teammates, long-loving relationship, by the way. They have a little bromance on Minecraft, these two. We found out as we had a Minecraft game, and then they have a bit of bromance on there. They like playing with each other on Minecraft a lot. So maybe a love-lost relationship on Minecraft, but love is definitely staying on the Project Cars side of things. Nothing bad happening as Byraxa is shadowing his teammate for the time being. Gaza, he's probably enjoying this up front, but look, 33-2, let's look behind Tinnis. Let's see what his pace. He's got 7 seconds now, so he's caught a little bit more with this dirty air ahead, so he's closed up by about 6-7 tenths of a second. Cham's still behind Parno, Jasko behind Defino, and we've got Jazzman, so I say behind Defino, and we've got Jasko as well. And up to the top two we go yet again then. So Byraxa, Gaza, these two holding the lines right now, holding the flag. Still 14 skulls out of this race. So yeah, we lost one driver, skulled out of this race so far. Then so he's gone off somewhere and decided to park it up, and that is not going to be doing, of course. Unfortunately, we don't know what's happened to the driver, and we'll find out potentially later on. But so far, Mercedes, then we've got Lamborghini, Mercedes, then we've got Lamborghini, then the BMW ahead of Fogarty and that other Mercedes. Then we've got Leonardo in the other Lamborghini ahead of Essa in the Audi, Big Kid Daddy in the Lamborghini, and Vetri down the back in the other Lamborghini. With only one retirement, that is the Audi of Scold, 1808. Out of the session so far, I believe on that 19 he's retired the car. Don't know what's happened to him, of course. We can only presume he's hit the wall somewhere and it's broken the car. That or something else has gone on. We know that he ultimately makes a mistake and then just retires the car, unfortunately, and sometimes it can be frowned upon. But around Monaco, I suppose if you've managed to get damages in the wrong place and in the right circumstances, I suppose you will have to let the other cars through. Defina, by the way, has not pitted, by the way, yeah, and is now behind Jasko and Jazzman. So I'm wondering, is he going off somewhere? Look at the front end of that car, Jazz. I think
it's shaking. It's shaking.
Is he coming in? He is coming in. No, he's not. Never mind then. So I thought for a second he was coming in. It stays at the time being. But definitely looks like he's got a little bit of damage on the front left of that car. The front right of your picture screen, by the way. The right side of the car. Damage on the left on his view. When we go again, though, to the top two, they're staying together. We got Jasko and Jazzman staying relatively together as well. Not a lot of drama in this race, might I say, Jess. We've only seen really 2, maybe 3 major incidents. Vetri lost his rear wing earlier when we saw Matt Jordan go off, and we've seen Papano collide with the car of Tofino, if I'm not too mistaken, as well.
Yeah, I mean, those were the only incidents that have happened, of course, and it's a shame about Scold, of course, but, you know, he's got to focus on the next race, which I'm not sure what it is, and Did Jasko make a mistake? Because he's
Yeah,
missed the right
damage,
bit. He's hit the wall.
Suspension. Suspension then. So, do you know what I said? Only one's making a mistake, Jess. He's broke the suspension then.
Oh, he nearly hit the Fino. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, he's tapped the wall then. So exit of Portier. He's gone. What he's done, he's gone too wide. That's broken the suspension. Clean off that car then. So it'll be limping. It's probably got about 50, maybe 60 suspension damage. That's gonna be a long drive back to the pit lane. And unfortunately, around Monte Carlo, that can happen. I thought he was running a little bit too close to that wall. You know, I saw the sparks come off from the front left, and when you see the sparks, that's always a give when he's broke the car, and you can see it's crabbing. That's going to be a hefty repair bill for him up front. Meanwhile, he's still got Raxa chasing down his teammate Tinnis. Remember, Tinnis still yet to come in the pit lane in this race, so he's staying out for the time being. He's rather backing him into Tinnis right now, when a little cheeky little fellow. Well, this will do, though. It'll provide a bump Ethan up to 9 position. It might bump Fogarty up to 10. As well, yeah, definitely bump Fogarty up. Jasko will probably come out. I reckon he'll come out around about 13th position, maybe, if he's lucky. He'll come out around about 12th position, so unless he gets the car going out, well, he's done it then. So, miraculous job by the mechanics. He's got the car fixed very quickly there. No, he hasn't.
He's out.
He hasn't then, so I thought early, he hasn't mended the damage then, so they did not fix for the mechanical, they only fixed the aero damage. That's why he's out of the race, so he's made a plunder during his pit strategy, it seems there, and that's unfortunate for him then. So Jasko out here of the Monte Carlo race. I want to say Grand Prix because it's the Grand Prix circuit, but of course it's not Grand Prix.
Azure circuit
130 kilometres of Monte Carlo, we'll call it that then, because it's 130 kilometres, of course. So, doing good so far. We've still got the top two together. Only battle going on this circuit so far. Behind them, we've got Tinnis. We've got Parley a little bit further back so far. We know he's going to be rather wanting to go quickwards and go forward. We've got Matt Jordan sitting a little bit further back. He's down there in 5th position after that mistake earlier on. Jazzman, he's doing okay in 6th so far. Minus, of course, he's currently only done 23 laps around the Principality, which to me is a little bit scary. He's only done 23 laps, but nonetheless, he's doing it. He's certainly done almost the same amount. He's actually done the same amount he's practiced so far due to his internet. Oh, Matt Jordan again into the wall in Monte Carlo, and he's stuck there. He's got the car in the wrong angle. Can he get the car in? Gary spun it up the hill, and again, the second time, it can't get it big. If it rains, it pours for Matt Jordan today, and again, more trouble for the man who's had a rather up and down season so far. He's so good in qualifying, but it goes all so wrong in the race. Leonardo, meanwhile, is coming the pit lane down the back. We believe that is for his scheduled pit stop. We believe, but again, Matt Jordan in trouble. And can you believe it? And he's going again. He catches it though, and he's struggling. He's got no grip on the tyres. He's struggling the car around. It's like a dog, might I say. He's got no grip out there whatsoever. And the poor old man, he just can't get any luck this season, can he?
I mean, he's had the good races last week, and he had a good start, but I think there was a few times where he lost a bit of concentration, but he has a tendency to do that if you have some clean air, and Matt Jordan has had a clean air quite a lot of this race, so maybe that's what he's been doing. He's been resting on his laurels too much, but 2, maybe 3 big mistakes now for Matt Jordan that we've captured on the stream, and you know, it could affect him massively now. He's going to drop way down the order. That'll possibly promote Ethan up. Will Matt decide to pit? Yes, he does, as he goes in for damage. Hopefully they will repair all of it, but we shall see anyway. Or will he give up? I'm knowing Matt Jordan, he will carry on, of course, as I think Ethan's going to be ahead of Matt by looks of things. And Fogarty maybe, it's going to be tight. It depends on how severe the damage is for Matt Jordan. So
yeah, he should come out probably around just ahead of Azure, I believe then. So they know they say at Monaco it's a race of attrition. And so far, we've got 2 drivers really in the wars. We've lost Skull, we've lost Jasko. Cam in the wars as well, but he's carrying on his merry way. The top 2, meanwhile, still together, though we still believe Gaza has yet to come in the pits, by the way, and he should drop down to around about 5th position. I'm surprised, to be fair, he is holding his teammate as much as he is. He's not now because he comes in the pit lane on cue then, so alas, evil saying, something, has completely contradicted himself as Gaza comes in the pit lane, so no more holding him up then, so he's thought maybe now's the time. He must be looking then, he must have saw that Matt Jordan has gone off the road then, because he was around about 30 seconds back. So he should come out, give or take, he should come out just behind Papano then. Give or take, be very close to Papano actually, he might just come out just ahead of Papano. Let's see on the exit then, up the hill then. Gaza, he should have the inside line, he should have the line, as long as he doesn't cover him off too much then. Here we go, side by side up the hill then, Papano alongside, pulls ahead then. So, Papano just about gets the job done, and I say he should have pitted maybe a lap or two earlier and he might have come out ahead of him. That should have been a bit more circumstance about trying to do it, but of course he's in now and now behind Papano, as long as he doesn't end up throwing the car off the road, now into third position. Yet again, the man who was doing a sensational job this season, back onto the podium for what is now, I think, the 5th time, potentially, in the 7 races we've got. We're coming to the penultimate round next week. It's at the circuit of Zhuhai, if I'm not too mistaken, before the final round.
Is that China, or is that...
It's China, of course, Zhuhai, of course. And before we go off to the circuit of Indianapolis in America, of course, for the final race. Season's coming to an end, though. Papano, so far in third position, he covered off well. Pitted exactly where he needed to, and you can see Gaza now struggling a little bit, of course. He's cold tyres, he just stopped, remember. And the tyres going to be overheating. Now he's come in, come out, and now he's going to get dirty air and hot tyres again. And with a man who's relatively going about the same speed as Byrax, although saying that Byrax's now pace has suddenly shot up to 32.8, so Byrax has got the pace right now, he's got the fuel, he's got the tyres, and he's overfilled the car rather much more than he wants to. They're coming up to that Vectro, that's the car you're seeing there. No, it's not my apologies, that'll be Leonardo, I believe, there then, potentially. Yes,
it
is Leonardo, and then we've got, I think, Essa just up the road then, so we're starting to come up on some lap traffic as the sea beautiful. Then the Mediterranean Sea starting to shine as the sun comes down upon the circuit, Jess. So far, though, Byrax leads still, though, from Tinner to somewhere around the circuit. There he is. Then we've got Papano, Gaza. Then we've got Jasmine, who's rather had a quiet race of all things considered. He's ahead of Tofino in 6th. Ethan in the big boy in 7th. Fogarty, a very stellar job in 8th position, might I say. He's ahead of Matt Jordan, who's rather had a abysmal afternoon with mistakes here and there. He's not having the best of afternoons, and he's clouting the wall and nearly again there up the hill. Essa down in 10th position, Leonardo in 11th, Big Kid Daddy down in 12th, and Vector, who's rather well, the fair play, he's carrying on, he's on the pad as well, and you got to give credit to him. A circuit, we're on the wheel, it's difficult. On the pad, I've tried it, it's near on impossible to do 39 laps consistently.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I tried on a pad on Project Cast 2, and it's undrivable. So Vectro, I would say bravo to him for carrying on like that. But you know, we've got about 13 or so laps to go, and the ones who haven't made that much mistakes are the ones that are doing well. And pray to Fogarty as well. Fogarty in 8th, he's doing very well, and obviously I could tell he kind of likes this circuit because. Obviously she can't overtake much, and I think that's why we probably liked it. But you know, he's had the most race starts in this grid in AOR, and he's looking to have another race finish added to his name, which is looking like it's going to be possible. He seems to be doing he's a 1:34 lap 8, so not the slowest out there, but definitely not the quickest. But still, it's not about pace at the moment, it's about consistency and making sure that you don't hit the wall as much. And looks like I haven't seen Fogarty in the wall that much this race, so that's probably that's where he is. But in a race like Monaco, the less damage you get, the more points you get. As Matt, I think, made another mistake again. He's hit the wall, hasn't he?
Yeah, would have done any damage there. Same corner, Ricardo clattered the wall there. I remember in Monte Carlo a couple of years ago, I think 2017, I believe he clattered the wall there, or maybe 2016. Easy to do, won't do too much damage to the car, of course, clattering the wall on the outside there, as long as you don't nose it in front first, at least. In terms of penalties, by the way, you haven't noticed it too much. 1 second for Tinners. Really only up to 3 seconds for the field, so they've relatively kept themselves trouble-free so far. Meanwhile, Leonardo and Essa closing up between those two then. So they're coming up the hill. And behind them, I'm wondering, as Essa rather goes in the wall there for good measure. So Leonardo straight through and past Essa, who's struggling in these conditions. That is Tinus, I believe, catching up to the pair of them. It is Tinus. Up the road there, you got Bioraxer. He's just passed yet another car. That will be presumably Vectro, I'm wondering. Is it Vectro? It is Vectro then, who's down there in 13th position. As now you can see the purple hues and the purple lights starting to come off. The
That looks nice. That looks nice.
For a stop then. That promotes Ethan up to 6. That looks like a scheduled stop, I believe. You'll come out ahead of Fogarty low, so that's worked. Meanwhile, behind them, Matt Jordan still closing up. We're on that 28 of this race, just over 12 and a bit laps to go. Is now Matt Jordan as Mr. Cole Fogarty in his sight, or Charles Fogarty. I'm not sure what his first name is. He's not related to the motorbike driver. He might be the motorbike driver. It doesn't sound like him, but he could be with a voice changer. Fogarty, who's rather going to be struggling right now. And if I was Matt Jordan, would you want to be trying to make a little dive up the inside here? Just take your time, don't do anything risky, because you know you don't want to upset the old boys. He wants to try and come through, doesn't want to be doing it in a way that compromises another driver, does he?
Nope, he doesn't. And Matt, I think Matt means business here. I mean, he knows Matt has obviously pulled up fastest laps compared to Fogarty, of course. 1:36 the last lap. And Matt Jordan 1:32.6. And I think Matt Jordan is saying to Fogarty, get out of the way, get out of the way. That position is mine, not yours. And he's got to be careful. A bit late on the brakes for Fogarty. I'm sure Fogarty has to let Matt Jordan through, which he does. Good sportsmanship, I think, from him. So the drivers are asked to do that, of course. If they deem to make an illegal overtake, as Fogarty's done, they let them through, otherwise a penalty. And Fogarty doesn't want a penalty, so he has let them through. But yeah, I think both of them went for a move they shouldn't have done, and it was a bit too risky for both of them, I think.
Bump, Jess. Like this is the old Motors and the Monaco. That bump's still there, of course. Remember in the likes of Formula 1, how many big accidents you've seen down there? You break on the bump, the car just wants to go. That was almost identical, to be fair. The likes of Perez, Button, Coulthard, with the likes of all those drivers as well have gone off there in the Formula 1. Fuck, almost just joined that list there. Down the bump, it wasn't trying to let anyone through, it wasn't braking late, he just got on the bump, lost the rear, got so lucky he didn't end up spinning the car around, to be fair, because that would have been slam dunk. That would have been Matt Jordan's afternoon all set in stone, and rather fortunately, you might have said, it didn't end that way. But small mistake there for Fogarty, who is has he gone off?
Oh no,
he's gone straight on down into Marrowboat.
Not Fogarty.
Yeah, he's locked up there, he's gone straight on down there, and he won't have got damage.
No, but he hasn't, he's carrying on. So, in fact, I'm relieved he hasn't got damage, to be honest, because otherwise that would have been the worst commentator's curse I've ever done on the driver in my life. But thank goodness he's going. So come on, Fogarty.
Leonardo, meanwhile, down there, he's dropped position. He is behind. That's Jasmine, I think. Is that Jasmine or is that Tinus? I think Tinus then. So Tinus are there in second, and that is Leonardo. So they've already lapped up to 10th position so far in this race. I'm surprised you've still got 13 drivers in this race, to be fair, Jess. I was expecting maybe down to around about maybe 9, 8 people. That was my prediction. It was going to be a massive accident. They've kept it relatively clean. They surprised me. Fair play to them. I wonder what the PC's tier is like. They've got, well, let's just say they've got about 30 drivers.
Tier 1 didn't happen. They've had a mass disconnect.
Well, that's not good. Well, hopefully everyone's in here then, saying hello. I just waved at my TV screen. I don't know why. But nonetheless, Tinus so far in second. Bioraxer in the lead of this race. Parno in third. Gaza still in fourth position. They're all keeping each other clean. They'll just start backing off, I reckon, now. Like to Gaza, I don't think he wants to be pushing too hard for us. Jazzman, he can afford to lift off now and just cruise home. He's got a big gap down to Ethan, around about, 20 odd seconds. A car in the wall, I noticed then. I'm not sure who that was down the exit of to back there. I saw sparks flying, but alas, can't see who it was. Not at least it's not appearing on my telemetry screen So whoever it was just tapped the wall. I wonder if it was a Big Kid Daddy. It might have been Big Kid Daddy then. Yeah, he was the car behind. Yeah, he's just the front right headlight then. So the front left headlight on the car, the front right of your screen. That's the headlight, and that's not going to help around Monte Carlo, especially when it's night. But then again, the track's, to quote NASCAR, the track is always lit around Monaco, and it's beautiful. Apart from in a few places where it's pitch black and scary, especially down here, it gets very dark very suddenly on the exit of the harbour. As they come down to bat for your leader, Axel, leads the cars by some old 10 seconds ahead of Tinner so far. He has got that time penalty as well, so it looks like Axel, he can just wrap this race up, Jess, and just bring it home as long as he doesn't go off the road. Meanwhile, someone who hasn't gone off the road, oh, well, actually, never mind. I was about to say someone who hasn't gone off the road recently. It's Matt Jordan, but by the looks of the car, Jess, does look like he's got a bit of damage. So
a bit of damage, Evil.
I'll refrain from commenting about Matt Jordan who's not going off for a while. It looks like he's getting on them with it. He's rather. It looks like that car's been over. To be fair, he's got the car fixed. A long stop for him. So I won't say what I was about to say, but you know what I was about to say.
Can you say at the end of the race? Because then they would have finished then.
Well, nonetheless, the man who I was about to say was doing well, didn't have damage. It looked like for the time being was keeping it. Was in fact very much embedded in the wall. So never mind. Well, that does promote. I think that might promote. That won't promote Vetcher because he's got damage as well. It looks like on that car, but
that's the same damage that Defino had earlier on, for definite.
Yeah. Matt Jordan out on the track. That'll be behind Big Kid Daddy. It's going to be a long way down. It's going to be a long afternoon for him. It's gone from worse to worse to worse.
No, it's gone from good to bad to worse to very worse to a word I'm not going to say on stream.
To diabolically worse. If it can go wrong for Matt Jordan with us, it always does go wrong every time. Every time we curse him. He's a poor puppy. We curse him every time. Meanwhile, these drivers, they're all keeping each other clean. They've elevated themselves past my commentator cursing. Hopefully. Gazza, who's that? Is that Essa? That'll be Essa behind him. It's the only Audi in this race. That's Essa, and then presumably Vetro behind him. Vetro, he's struggling around there, but he's keeping the car going. He's the slowest driver by far. Yes, of course, you might say this is slow for Vetro, and in all cases he'll say he's doing terrible. He's a tier 2 driver. You'll often say he downs himself quite a lot, but really, around Monaco or at a circuit like this on a pad, you've got to give credit that he's carrying on, even though he's trundling around there some 7-8 seconds back. You can't fault him. He's doing a fantastic job on the pad nonetheless.
Yeah, and he's 13th, but I'm sure he'll be proud of actually finishing the race. And a 1:36 on the pad, that's pretty good, I must say. So even though he's a few laps down, but at least he's going to have his pride that obviously he's finished most of the races this season compared to some other people. And that'll put him in very good stead when it comes to other seasons as well, as Defino is right on the back of Papano, I do believe. No, it is lapped. So he's lapped. I thought they were in a battle there. I was getting my hopes up, people.
Oh no!
Tinnis is out! Scold is out!
Here we go. This is trouble here in Monte Carlo. Disconnect time, lads. And we've got 3 drivers out. Matt Jordan is gone. Tinnis is gone. Scold is gone, and
Scold was out anyway.
Yeah, Scold disconnected anyway. That's a mass disconnect, and I'm wondering, will that be an aborted? Will that be the aborted race then potentially? I don't think so because those 2 dropped. Matt Jordan was definitely down the back and struggling. Scold was already out, but now that could be big trouble. Let's hope it doesn't. We've got 5 and a bit laps to go in this race, so it will be classed as a full race distance nonetheless. If anyone else disconnects, of course. We've passed the 75% distance, but trouble here in Monte Carlo. And now, you know, I said, Jess, we might get 9 drivers. Well, I mean, I don't want to curse it, but we'll disconnect that. I think we might be in for some trouble.
Evil, you shouldn't have said, I don't trust you in the commentary box. For saying those stats, but yeah, that is a shame for the disconnect to happen. Maybe, I'm not sure if it was internet for Tinnis or anything like that, because he was running well. I'm probably going to find out soon, why it might be that he had damage or something like that. He may have retired and then we didn't even notice and he just left the session, but I'm not sure. What?
We were still in second at the time, so with all things going, unless something catastrophe happens...
I'll find out right now, actually.
Raxa in charge of still winning this race, but the question is, can he win the race, or will he end up getting disconnected as well?
Yeah, Tinnis got disconnected, no retirement, it was disconnected. And the most bad thing is, Tinnis is the lobby host.
Yeah, he is the lobby host, and again, a string of disconnects from Tinnis this season. He does seem to do that, of course. That's the third time he's disconnected. I'm surprised this time he hasn't disconnected me. I'm not going to curse myself, hopefully, but last time it did. The time before it does. It has a habit of doing that when Tinnis disconnects. But today, it's behaving itself so far. Just over 6 and a bit, well, 5 and a bit laps to go of this race. And so far, Boyraxa still lead from Papano. Gaza, and in the background there, one of the other Lamborghinis that might have been...
That was Defino.
That would have been Leonardo, slightly tapping the wall behind
Leonardo,
them.
okay, sorry.
So Vetro, who's down the back so far, cruising, oh dear, and cruising around with, well, those are going to be described right now, as we say, not very much of a car.
Not as worse as Jazzman's from last week, though. Jazzman was, well, I'm not going to say how damaged Jazzman's car was at the end of one of the races, but yeah, it could be worse, I guess, but is Vetro going to pit? No. Wow, okay.
I don't think he wants to pit. I think he wants to carry on right now. He's about millionizer. I don't know. He might not have damage, actually. He's going full throttle with that thing. I don't think he's actually got damage, you know. I'm not sure what's happened there, unless something weird's happened, because the front of that car is going to be described as broken. So he's weaving ever so slightly, but I'm not sure what's going on there with his one headlight. But the front of the car's definitely not there anymore. Meanwhile, Jazzman in 4th position. Good job for him so far. He's ahead of that's Big Kid Daddy behind him. Jazz go out of this race already. We've got a string of 5 drivers out. We've got just over 4 and a bit laps to go in this race. The beautiful purple light, by the way, on the exit of Portier is incredible as he comes through the tunnel. So far then, everything's going well for Jazzman. He's not disconnected with his connection. He's been struggling. He's letting Big Kid Daddy through right now.
Stop talking about disconnections. Stop talking about disconnections.
Yeah, we'll stop talking about disconnections, but nonetheless, Boyraxa leads this race. Papano, 2nd position after Tinnis disconnected tragically from this race. Gaza in 3rd. I expect Tinnis right now, he's probably... The end of the straw has been snapped. It is in the bin, and the bin has been set on fire. And then that fire has been set on fire again, I imagine. That's probably how angry poor old Tinnis is, and I feel for him. He's got so bad luck in his last couple of races where he's often in such a good position. He gets disconnected or caught up in mistakes that are nothing to do with his own, of course, and it can only get better, of course. We all have these seasons, but you've just got to feel for that man.
Yeah, and you also got to feel for Matt Jordan as well. He's had bad luck, and I can't confirm. He's in the chat right now. He's disconnected. He didn't retire. He disconnected, so... That was a shame for Matt Jordan, but it's not about obviously your retirement, of course. It's how you pick up for the rest of the season, of course, because you don't want to have a negative mindset forever, of course, because you want to try and climb up as many places as you can in the championship. But Ethan's made his first mistake. Vetro's made a mistake as well.
Yeah, well, Vetro reset the car, and that's a big no-no, I think, then. So Ethan rather put himself in the wall there to avoid Vetro, who's gone off the road.
Oh god, Vetro's car. That looks very worse for wear right now. I wouldn't want to be in his car at the moment. Some parts will probably fall out at this rate, so Vetro's got to be a little bit more careful, I think.
Yeah, hit the wall, damaged the car, spun the car up the hill. Oh, there. And it looks like it's going downhill very quickly. I'm just reading your skull, by the way. He got distracted, it looks like, and crashed. So, if that's what happened, that's got to be very, very embarrassing indeed. I'm just reading that down in our Instagram chat. So, that's a bit awkward. Ethan, he got away with that, but he's okay. He's not going to overtake Butterfino. He's a long way back, and he's got damage as well. We've got 2 and a bit laps to go in this race. Boyraxa still leads by some 20 seconds, might I add, right now from Papano. Of course, Tinnis was in 2nd position for most of the race, unfortunately disconnected some 4 laps to go. We do not know if we are going to get a aborted thing. We don't know if the race will be counted back when that disconnection happened, but in the rules and regulations, it normally states if 3 or more drivers disconnect at the same time, it will be booted back to when those 3 disconnected. But of course, with Scold already being out of the race, there have been 2 drivers disconnected, I suppose. So I suppose maybe it might not be as bad, but then we'll see what happens. Of course, we'll keep you updated come next week. The Byrack's up front so far. 20 seconds, or give or take 19 seconds. He's starting to drop back ever so slightly now towards the pilot, but then pulls over a second and a bit in the middle sector. And he's doing an okay job. 1 and a bit laps to go. He's got a few knowledge just up the road for him right now. Vectro just up the road for him right now, who's cruising around with some form of car that isn't very car-shaped anymore. And I'm not sure what he's doing. He's staying out there with a damaged car, and he's only got 1 light. And I don't want to say maybe he should really be retiring that car because he's scraping every wall. He's really struggling out there. But alas, he's carrying on. Maybe he wants to carry on. He might be some 5 laps down.
Oh, he's hit the wall again.
This is looking rather clumsy for the Dutchman, I might say. I don't want to say maybe he should retire the car, but he's trying to carry on with the damage he's got. He's got the leaders coming up on him pretty quickly as well. So must be careful. As Byrack's up comes to start the final lap of this race. He's got Defino's up the road of him, so he's lapped everyone up to 6th position then in this race, give or take. An incredible job for the driver. And he now begins what is the final lap of this race. He climbs up the hill then. The 2 broken Lamborghinis up the road. They will get out of the way very easily then. We're right on board with this man. The sky pitch black in up above. Beautiful, might I add, for all the drivers. A beautiful view around Monaco. It's not often you see Monaco at night time. Today we do. Well, there we go. He's lapped everyone up to 5th position then. So an incredible, dominant performance, might I say, from Byrack. Yes, he's been helped with Tinnitus disconnection. Yes, he's been helped with others' issues. But he's kept it out of the wall where others have made mistakes. He's just keeping himself clean. He's not doing other mistakes. He's just driven his heart out this entire event. And a well-earned victory if he does not make a mistake now before the end of the race, which I hope he doesn't. But he's surely now got it in the bag. He's got veterans up the road of him who's rather going to be getting out of the way in a few moments' time. He pulls to the right-hand side there through towards the back, gets well out of the way of him as Vectro now hits the wall and loses the rear wing for good measure in the background as well. So I think Vectro's going to have an accident in a few seconds. He's not careful. And he keeps a little clear of the background. So Byrack then through the Rascast then for the last time. Then through Anthony Nodes for the last time. He's kept himself clean where others have faltered. He's kept the nutrition high. He's kept the attrition high. Byraxo wins in Monte Carlo and without doubt seals all near confirmation of the championship as well. Papano is going to cross the line in 2nd position. Phenomenal drive as well. He came through the field. He pitted early. He came back through. He comes through the last corner. Papano through the last corner now. He'll finish 2nd, although we'll keep you updated whether he'll stay in 2nd due to the fact that we had a mass disconnect earlier on. Gaza through the last corner. He'll finish in 3rd position. Behind them, a long way back is the car of Jazzman as through turn 1 they go. And there is Vetro's poor old vehicle parked there. Defino, Fogarty, Leonardo, Essa, Big Kid Daddy and Vectro have all pretty much finished in their order and now just waiting for Jazzman and Ethan to cross the line then. Jazzman through the chicane, driver of the day nonetheless to my eyes. He started down the back, he pitted on the first lap. He drove his heart out. He's only done 23 laps before this race. He's almost double that in this race entirely. He comes to the line and a man who was doubting anything, he thought he wouldn't even finish, finishes 4th then. A fantastic achievement for the man from South Africa who lives in Qatar. Ethan across the line there in the big boy in a fine fettled 5th. Byraxer wins then today at the Costa Azuri then for the Monaco 130 kilometers of Monte Carlo. Papano in 2nd ahead of Gaza in 3rd. Jazzman in fine 4th ahead of Ethan in 5th. Defino in 6th ahead of Fogarty Leonardo Essa in 9th. Bicky Day rounds off the top 10 ahead of Vector Jasco in 12th. Tinus Scold both disconnect from this race, as well as Matt Jordan.
Yeah, but I think I've got to agree with you, Evil, that the driver of the day has got to be Jazzman. I mean, I've set low expectations for him this week. I mean, obviously he was on his 4G, mobile internet again. I thought he wasn't going to do as well. I downplayed him a little bit, and I think that's kind of helped him this week, and he's had less mistakes. So, yeah, the South African gets my driver of the day as well.
Indeed. Well, again, a beautiful race from everyone, though. Next week, we do go to Zhuhai, Jess, so I'll let you round up the stream as we come to now the last 2 rounds of this season.
3 rounds.
3 rounds. Okay, there's another race somewhere in here, I don't know.
Dubai, which is after Zhuhai.
Dubai. Dubai, Zhuhai, and then the final round.
No,
3 rounds.
No, Zhuhai, then Dubai, then the final round.
I'm getting confused. I'll let you round the stream off, Jess.
Yes, so it was a race of attrition. Few people made mistakes. A few people rose to the occasion. Just like Boy Waxer, he's either won the championship or he could round out the championship. Next week we'll find out where it will be the endurance race next week. 90 minutes, reverse grid. It should be interesting. I've been Jess Games 95. Evil has been Evil Dragon XXL. See you same time next week in Zhuhai. And have a good evening, everybody. Good night.